What did you think of the story of the monkey? It seemed to represent reincarnation, didn't it? This is Caede, your guide. Now let's go further. There's still so much more to see. The omizuya is a place to wash your hands, rinse your mouth, and purify yourself before entering the sacred area where Ieyasu Tokugawa is enshrined. The water basin is made of granite, using the principle of siphoning, which is based on the difference in height of water levels. Water was drawn from a water source about 2 kilometers away through a wooden water pipe. Nowadays, it is no longer a wooden water pipe, but thanks to the siphoning principles, water is still constantly poured into the water basin. The carvings and colors of the water basin are all reminiscent of water. One of the most eye-catching images is the flying dragon. The flying dragon is a legendary creature that blows fire from its mouth and is thought to be a sacred animal that protects buildings and people from fire. It blows fire and protects from fire. It's quite the opposite, isn't it? There are 43 carvings of flying dragons in the Nikko Toshogu alone. The most beautiful of them is the flying dragon in the omizuya. What do you think? There are a total of 12 granite pillars, 3 at each of the 4 corners. Most of the buildings in the Nikko Toshogu are made of wood, but the shrine is made of granite to avoid erosion from the constant flow of water. There is a lot of human wisdom in this building. This bronze torii gate was built in 1636 by the third shogun Tokugawa Iemitsu. Approximately, it is 6 meters high and the first bronze torii gate in Japan. This oldest bronze torii gate still has the authentic appearance of its original construction. It's said to have cost about 200 million yen at current prices. You can see the hollyhock crest, the crest of Tokugawa family on the plaque. Here it is. This torii gate was built in the era of syncretization of Shinto with Buddhism, when Buddhism and Shintoism were merged together. So a lotus flower, a symbol of Buddhism, is carved at the foot of Shinto gate. At the Nikko Toshogu, the second torii gate, the Yomemon gate, the Karamon gate, the worship hall, and the main hall are all lined up in a straight line. And the second torii gate plays an important role at the entrance to the sacred area. You can see the Yomemon gate behind it. The building on the left after the bronze gate is called Rinzo, or Sutra Repository, where Buddhist scriptures are stored. I wonder why Buddhist scriptures were placed in a Shinto shrine. This is because when the Nikko Toshogu was built, Buddhism and Shintoism, which was the native religion in Japan, were merged together, and the people were to pray to both of them. That's interesting. The Nikko Toshogu was under the control of a Buddhist temple called Rinnoji, which is why there is a sutra repository in the Shinto shrine. There are still 7,000 Buddhist books stored here today. To the right of the Yomemon gate is the bell tower, and to the left is the drum tower. Both were built in 1635. The building on the right houses the bronze bell, And this building has a total of 78 carvings, including dragons, flying dragons, kirin, and waves. Can you see them? The building on the left houses the drums. Unlike the bell tower, there are only 38 decorations here, including turtles, dragons, and spiders, because the bell tower is more prestigious. It's like a zoo with all these carvings of different creatures. The bronze bell in front of the bell tower was a gift from the King of Korea in 1643 to commemorate the birth of Takechiyo, who later became the fourth Tokugawa shogun. It's amazing that the Tokugawa family, who are not even emperors, were congratulated by a neighboring country. In front of the Yomemon gate, around the bell tower and the drum tower, there are 3 lanterns that were presented to Iemitsu by the Netherlands through the Dutch trading post. Why did the Netherlands present such a gift to the Tokugawa shogunate? It's time for a little history here. In the old days, ships from various countries used to come to Japan for trade, but in the Edo period, people began to think that those who brought Christianity into Japan were bad guys, because they thought that after Christianity was spread, they would soon be colonized. So many countries were no longer allowed to trade with Japan. The Netherlands was the only country that was still allowed to trade on Dejima Island in Nagasaki, and the Dutch were very careful to send the lanterns to maintain the good relationships. First of all, let's talk about this hanging lantern. It was offered in 1636. I guess it's a hanging type because the Dutch had never seen the Nikko Toshogu before and they didn't know where the lantern would be placed. It is said that because of the shape of the lantern, it may be a chandelier. Unlike in Europe, you don't see chandelier in wooden Japanese houses. This lotus lantern was presented in 1640. It is a standing type lantern, which was not available in Japan at that time. If you were to place this lantern with a candle in a wooden Japanese house, it would probably spark a fire immediately. This lantern was dedicated in 1643. If you look closely at the crest of the Tokugawa family, the hollyhock crest on the top of the lantern, you can see that it is upside down. Since it was a gift from a foreign country, it is said that this blunder was forgiven, and so it is kept in the Nikko Toshogu. If the presenter had been a Japanese feudal lord, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Seppuku suicide, it would have been for him, I suppose. These 3 lanterns are registered as important cultural properties as they tell the story of the Japan-Dutch trade. In 2000, to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the Japan-Dutch exchange, the lotus lanterns were lent to the National Gallery of Amsterdam. As you see, there are so many culturally important buildings and gifts at the Nikko Toshogu. Now let's go see some more of Toshogu.